interesting because a lot of my mills do last, but you're right, the freshness does kind of go off of them.
Yeah, they'll go off a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
And so I have a tendency, I like to drink them up, but I've got, I have one mead here that's, I'll put on wooden barrel and I'll leave it sit there for 5 years before I even pull it off the barrel, and then start playing around with it. So, there is no way I could do that with a mellow. There's no way.
Yeah. Which one are you barreling?
It'd be my golden age. I don't send it down too often. I kind of hoard it.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, you haven't brought a bottle of that with you that I can, taste. You don't have to bring it to, lots of it. Just bring one. And just let me know where you're going to be, and we'll go hide in the corner and drink it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's my golden age. I do barrel it a bit, but
oh gosh.
Yeah, and the stuff I'm selling now, see, I'm just at 5 years, so with the stuff that's in the barrel, so I got to go start looking into my barrels again. But I did put the price fairly high on it. I only do sell it in a 375 ml bottle, but I've had that now, and I have maybe half a layer of bottles left of that, but it'll be almost 10 years old.
Okay,
but
you don't need a passport to go to his place. I don't know how far he is from you, but that's worth driving for, sounds like to me.
A fair piece, I'm in Ottawa.
Yeah. That'd be only about 6 hours.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, except it goes through Toronto. Who wants to go through Toronto?
Yeah, that's why, somebody's got to do it. Besides, is Intermeal over that way?
No, they're the other way.
Oh, that's right. They're in Quebec, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
She'll be closer.
Yeah.
She'll be closer to Intermeal than she would be to me.
No,
yeah.
I gotta get.
Yeah, Montreal's only a couple hours drive.
Yeah, I gotta sweet talk Andre into coming on the show. That should be interesting. Yeah, but you guys have a tasting room, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just our little retail outlet that we have here, and you can come in and try whatever wines that are available. Right now, and my mead and my sweet have sold out, which is it's a problem, but it's not always a bad problem. But it means I'm selling it. But so I'm just it's in the tank. It's not just quite ready to bottle yet. So. So whatever I have available, you're more than welcome to try a sample of that. But we also have honeys here. We do flavored honeys. We do honey butter. We also do. We have the observation hive right here in the store. You can kind of come in. The bees live right here in the store, and they're behind glass, and you can have a look. And
that's fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing for mom shops, and the kids put their nose up against the glass and watch the bees for a while. So
there's a Lori who owns Bee Folks. When she does the Maryland Renaissance Festival, and she brings a small observation hive with her, and it sits out in front of their shop, and it's always a hoot to watch.
Cool.
Because there's just lots of stuff going on in there. So speaking of your honey, what do you everybody's got where they like their honey to be in terms of processing and what's been taken out or left in or whatever. So what's it look like for you guys from hive to fermenter?
For me, I kind of I'm in a lucky situation. I know what that honey's like right from the time we extract it, right across to I put it into the tank, right? So and throw it into bottles. So I can tell what that honey's like before, and either I'll barrel it, and I have found some years some honeys will ferment better, and they're all clover. Like a lot of my honey's clover. But some years are better than others, and if I get a year where the honey is fermenting good, I'll sit on a few of those barrels just to so because I know that honey will ferment a little better than others. I have found some that won't. I have found some honeys that a little more finicky. to ferment, and other ones will ferment quite well. So,
well,
and then again, yeah. So then again, I found too that I'd like to do some of that blueberry. I get a fair amount of that, so I'd like to play around with that a little bit. And,
like a blueberry. Aren't you guys blueberry country up there?
Not my area, no.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit too south, I think.
Is it? Okay. I wasn't sure because I know northern Michigan that's huge in blueberries, and you guys are right across from Port Huron, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's just basically about the line in Michigan. It's right about there. But,
yeah.
Because I've made blueberry mead, blueberry melomel with blueberry honey, and it was like pouring the sky into a bottle. It was one of the best meads I've ever made. It was so good. I mean, it literally was like drinking sunshine. And it was so pretty. Blueberry mead is just so pretty.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like a deep ruby. It's not blue, obviously, but it's like this deep ruby red. It's like a grape, it's like a grape color, but it's this clear, brilliant sort of deep red, and it's just nice looking, and it tastes of blueberries, but at the same time, it tastes of outdoors in the summertime.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about it does have a unique floral flavor to it. That's for sure.
Yep.
It does, yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to try, if you're looking for what I consider to be one of the top examples of blueberry mead out there, White Winter Winery in Wisconsin, who we had on the show a few weeks ago. White Winter Winery in northern Wisconsin makes a blueberry mel that's excellent. It's really good. It's a sweet, but it's put together really nicely, and it really, I think, evokes what you can do or what you can get from from blueberries in a mel.
Yep. I don't think I don't know if I tried his blueberry. He hasn't been down.
He had it at the Mazer Cup a couple of years ago, I think.
Did he?
Yeah, it was like the first year I've been able to lure him out in ages, and he came out and they showcased 3 or 4 of their meads. Pretty sure there was blueberry in there, because that was actually one of the first commercial meads outside of Chaucer's that I had. And
right.
So of course, it's kind of got a special place for me because it made a big impression on me. But since my palate has developed, I've gone back and tried it again, thinking, okay, well, I really loved it because it was amazing then, but it's still pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's been at it for quite some time, right? The White Winter.
Oh yeah. John's been doing it for. I want to say he's been out there as long as Mike Fall has, just about. So yeah, since pretty much things started getting rolling, in terms of starting to see the takeoff of North American mead.
Right.
But yeah, so he's got it nailed. But they've stayed small and tight. They have not expanded real big, and not that that's a bad thing. It's just that that's the way they like it. But they're really focused on a fairly narrow product line. They've only got maybe less than 10 meads, and they make them consistently over and over. Yeah. It's like you dial it in and you work with what works, and you stick with it because it works.
Yeah, I have other Ontario's a funny market because I can't really. I have a hard time selling in Ontario. I sold wine to Japan. It was easier to sell it to Japan than it was to sell it in my own province here. So, there's just so many roadblocks. If I want to try to sell to restaurants, all these taxes apply, and where if I compete against like a Chardonnay or what they call a VQ8 wine in Ontario, they can lower the taxes and all that. They make a better margin. They can sell a bottle, to a restaurant, for around $8 a bottle, where I got to charge 15, 16 because of all these taxes that the LCBO and the Alcohol and Game Commission kick into place. So, and so it's a funny market here. It's a tough sell. I think it's a tough sell right now, but they just opened up things for farmers markets here in the province. So they opened it up for fruit wines. They did it for grape wines first, and there's a long story there, but we won't get into that. They opened it up for grape wines first, then the fruit wines, they opened it up, just opened it up. So I applied to try to be able to sell at farmers markets, and they come back to me and said, no, you're a meadery. Yeah, you're not a fruit winery, so you can't sell in farmers markets.
Wow.
I made that idea. So I don't know. They said I have to have 5 acres of, fruit growing before I could, and then apply for a fruit winery license, and then going, well, I think I'm going to do that. So it's a little tougher sell, but I think when I first started doing mead in the province of Ontario, a lot of people had no idea what it was. And I'm seeing, now when I go into do these shows, I'm seeing, a lot of interest and a lot of young people and very interested in mead.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and AJ hasn't asked it yet, but I know that she's totally, over there salivating to do it. Because AJ's going to open her own place, hopefully in a few years. And so I know one of the things that she and I've talked about, when we're not on the air, is what issues did you run into in being a meadery in Ontario? As the first meadery, I expect you had more hoops to jump through than she will. You sort of pioneered some things that she won't have to deal with later. But what are the big challenges? You just said some of them, but what are some of the other things you run into? I don't know the Canadian rules, so.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of it. So there's 2 standards here. So there's the grape wine industry. So when I first got my manufacturing license, they call it the Wine Council of Ontario. So I called them up and I says, look, I just got a manufacturing license. I'd like to join you. And they said, well, that's great. And they said, you're more than welcome and all that stuff. And they said, we just got a few questions. And they said, well, what kind of grapes do you grow? And I said, well, I don't grow any grapes. It's all honey. Oh, no, you can't belong to us. So that organization, and wouldn't allow me to be a member, or I could be a member. I had to pay full price, but I had no privileges. So I'm going, well, I'm not going to do that. So then I had to go to fruit wines, and fruit wines were kind of the same way. They were kind of going, you're not really a fruit, blah, blah, blah. So, but I kind of I was allowed to sit in their meetings, and as I sat in their meetings, I kind of figured out that, a lot of these guys were using honey in their recipes. So, if they're going to make that a fruit wine or QC that wine, which is quality certified, if they're going to QC that wine and they're using honey, why can't you QC just straight honey? So they kind of thought about it and went, yeah, okay, we'll do that. So, but the fruit wines industry's very small, and and for me, I find that being the only one out there right now, there's a couple other meaderies now in Ontario, but there's really no industry support for mead right at the moment. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges I find right now. That you have very little voice, especially when it comes to government and their liquor laws, and these liquor laws are all legislated. To get them to change them, it's a big process.
Even finding out what the regulations are is a big challenge sometimes.
Yes, I called the LCBO one time because I was asking them a question, and they told me at that point that I was only on a need-to-know basis, so I just said, that's fine. I'll just do what I do, and you can come on and tell me I'm doing it wrong. So that's kind of where that was at. But yeah, you can't get a book or anything that lists all the different liquor laws.
No, actually, when I went looking, when my husband suggested I should go pro just so I could sell stuff to my friends, and the only way I could find information without buying the document was somebody had